Hello, BookTube, and welcome back to our reading of Can You Forgive Her by Anthony Trollope. We are up to Chapter 6. We are following a party of relatively young people on vacation. Emotions are running high. Our last chapter ended on a fairly tense note and is now being interrupted by the beginning of this chapter, which is titled The Bridge Over the Rhine. "George," said Kate, speaking before she quite got up to them, "will you tell me whether you are preparing all your things for an open sale by auction?" Kate has gone to George's room in order to begin preliminary cleaning up because they're leaving. They're ending their vacation, so it's time to pack luggage. Then she stole a look at Alice, and having learned from that glance that something had occurred which prevented Alice from joining her in her raillery, she went on with it herself rapidly, as though to cover Alice's confusion and give her time to rally before they should move. Would you believe it? He had 3 razors laid out on his table. A man must shave, even at Basel. But not with 3 razors at once, and 3 hairbrushes, with half a dozen toothbrushes, and a small collection of combs, and 4 or 5 little glass bottles, looking as though they contained poison, all with silver tops. I can only suppose that you desire to startle the weak mind of the chambermaid. I put them all up, but remember this, if they are taken out again, you are responsible, and I will not put up your boots, George. What can you want with 3 pairs of boots at Basel? This is interesting. It's a delicate little human moment of the type that Trollope's critics often say he cannot do. I don't know why those critics have persisted in saying that. He does it in every book. And I think it's really a bit of self-abnegation, a bit of self-criticism about how much time they've spent slavering at the altar of Charles Dickens, who could not do a moment like this. That perfectly human little moment where Kate starts to joke before she realizes that something serious has happened and tries to save it by continuing the comedy routine. That's good. We've all had that happen. When you have completed the list of my wardrobe, we'll go out on the bridge. That is, if Alice likes it. Oh, yes, I shall like it. Come along, then, said Kate, and they moved away. When they got upon the bridge, Alice and Kate were together, while George strolled behind them, close to them, but not taking any part in their conversation, as though he had merely gone with them as an escort. Kate seemed to be perfectly content with this arrangement, chattering to Alice so that she might show that there was nothing serious on the mind of any of them. It need hardly be said that Alice at this time made no appeal to George to join them. He followed them at their heels, with his hands behind his back, looking down upon the pavement and simply waiting upon their pleasure. "Do you know," said Kate, I have a very great mind to run away." "Where do you want to run to?" "Well, that wouldn't much signify. Perhaps I'd go to that little inn at Handeck. It's a lovely place where nobody would hear of me, and I should have the waterfall. I'm afraid they'd want to have their bill paid. That would be the worst of it." "But why run away just now?" "I won't, because you wouldn't like going home with George alone, and I suppose he'd be bound to look after me if he's doing as he's doing now. I wonder what he'd think of having to walk over the bridge after us girls. I suppose he'd be in that place down there drinking beer if he weren't here. If he wanted to go, I dare say he'd go in spite of us." "Well, that's ungrateful of you, and I'm sure we've never been kept in a moment by his failing us. But as I was saying, I do dread going home. You are going to John Gray, which may be pleasant enough, but I am going to Aunt Greenow." "It's your own choice." "No, it's not. I haven't any choice in the matter. Of course, I might refuse to speak to Aunt Greenow, and nobody could make me, but practically I haven't any choice in the matter. Fancy a month at Yarmouth with no companion but such a woman as that." "I shouldn't mind it. Aunt Greenow always seemed to me to be a very good sort of woman." "She may be a good woman, but I must say I think she's of a bad sort. You've never heard her talk about her husband?" We are going to hear her talk about dear Greenow very many times. She's not going to stop talking about her husband. "No, never. I think she did cry a little the first day she came to Queen Anne Street, but that wasn't unnatural. He was 30 years older than herself. But still he was her husband. And even if her tears are assumed, what of it? What's a woman to do? Of course she was wrong to marry him. She was 35 and had nothing, while he was 65 and was very rich. According to all accounts, she made him a very good wife, and now that she's got all his money, you would never go about laughing within 3 months of his death." "No, I wouldn't have her laugh, but neither would I have her cry. But she's quite right to wear widow's weeds, but she needn't be so outrageous in the depth of her hems, or so very careful that her caps are becoming. Her eyes will be worn out by their double service. They are always red with weeping, and yet she is ready every minute with a full battery of execution for any man that she sees. Then why have you consented to go to Yarmouth with her? Oh, just because she's got £40,000. If Mr. Greenow had left her with a bare maintenance, I don't suppose I should ever have held my hand out to her. Alice replies, well, then you're as bad as she is. Oh, quite as bad. But that's what makes me want to run away. If it isn't my own fault altogether, it's the fault of the world at large. Does anybody ever drop their rich relatives? When she proposed to take me to Yarmouth, wasn't it natural that the squire should ask me to go? When I told George, wasn't it natural that he'd say, oh, go by all means. She's got £40,000. One can't pretend to be wiser and better than one's relatives. And after all, what can I expect from her money? But nothing, I should say. Not a halfpenny. I am nearly 30 and she's only 40, and of course she'll marry again. I will say of myself, too, that no living person cares less for money. I should think no one. Yet one sticks to one's rich relatives. It's the way of the world. Then she paused for a moment. But I shall tell you, Alice, why do I stick to her? Perhaps you'll think the object as mean as though I wanted her money myself. Kate. Alice isn't going to point it out to you, but I might as well. Just last chapter, you said that this vacation in Switzerland had ruined you. That you had a wonderful time, but that it completely tapped you out of all money. Yarmouth is a lovely place by the seaside, and Aunt Greenow is going to pay for your every single last little expense. She's not just going to take you there, she's going to pay for room and board and everything else. But yet you're asking, why am I going there? So why is it? Asked Alice. Because it's on the cards that she may help George in his career. I do not want money, but he may. And for such purpose as his, I think it fair that all the family should contribute. I feel sure that if he would make a name for himself in Parliament, and if I'd put away in my way, I would spend every shilling of Vavasor money in putting him there. When I told the squire so, I thought he would have eaten me. I really did think he would have turned me out of the house. And serve you right, too, after what has happened. I don't care. Let him turn me out. I was determined that he should know what I thought. He swore at me, and then he was so unhappy that at what he had done that he came and kissed me that night in my bedroom and gave me a £10 note. What do you think I did with it? I sent it as a contribution to the next election, and George has it now locked up in a box. Don't tell him that I told you. Then they stopped and leaned for a while over the parapet of the bridge. Come here, George, said Kate, and she made room for him between herself and Alice. Wouldn't you like to be swimming down there with those boys were doing when we were on the balcony? The water looks so enticing. I can't say I should, unless it might be a pleasant way of swimming into the next world. I should like to feel myself going with the stream, said Kate, particularly by this light. I can't fancy in the least that I should be drowned. I can't fancy anything else, said Alice. It would be so pleasant to feel the water gliding along one's limbs and to be carried away headlong, knowing that you were on a direct road to Rotterdam. And so arrive there without your clothes, said George. They would be brought in after on a boat. Didn't you see that those boys had a boat with them? But if I lived here, I'd never do it except by moonlight. The water looks so clear and bright now, and the rushing sound of it is so soft. The sea at Yarmouth won't be anything like that, I suppose. No, it will be better. The sea is better than the river. Neither of them any longer answered her, yet she went on talking about the river and their aunt and her prospects at Yarmouth. Neither of them answered her, and yet it seemed that they had not a word to say to each other. But still they stood there looking down upon the river, and every now and then Kate's voice was to be heard, preventing the feeling which might otherwise have arisen in their hearts, if their hearts were too full for speech. At last Alice seemed to shiver. There was a slight trembling in her arm, which George felt rather than saw. "You are cold," he said. "No, indeed." "If you are, let us go in. I thought you shivered with the night air." "It wasn't that. I was thinking of something. Don't you ever think of things that make you shiver?" "Indeed I do, very often. So often that I have to do my shivering inwardly. Otherwise people would think I had the palsy." "I don't mean things of moment," said Alice. "Little bits of things that make me do it. Perhaps a word that I said and ought not to have said 10 years ago. The most ordinary little mistakes, even my own past thoughts to myself about the merest trifles, they are always making me shiver." "It's not because you've committed any murder, then?" "No, but it's my conscience all the same, I suppose." "Ah, I'm not so good as you. I doubt it's my conscience at all. When I think of a chance I've let go by, of 1,000 and as I've had thousands, then it is then that I shiver. But as I tell you, I shiver inwardly. I've been in one long shiver ever since we came out because of one chance I had that I let go by. He will not drop this subject. He won't do it. Come, we'll go in. We have to be up at 5 o'clock, and it's now 11. I'll do the rest of my shivering in bed. Are you tired of being out? Said Kate when the other two began to move. No, not tired of being out, but George reminds me that we have to be up at 5. I wish George would hold his tongue. We can't come to the bridge at Basel every night of our lives. If one found oneself at the top of Sinai, I'm afraid the first feeling would be one's fear lest one wouldn't be down in time to dress for dinner. Are you aware, George, that the King of Rivers is running beneath your feet? That the moon is shining with a brilliance you never see at home? The King of Rivers is running at your feet? Really? You're near the Mississippi, are you? Within shouting distance of the Ohio? I'll stay here all night if you'll put off going tomorrow, said George. Our money wouldn't hold out, said Kate. Don't talk about Sinai any more after that, he said, but let's go to bed. They walked across the bridge back to the hotel in the same manner as before, the two girls going before together with the young man after them. So they went up to the front steps of the hotel, through the hall, and onto the stairs. Here George handed Alice her candle, and as he did so, he whispered a few words to her. My shivering fit has yet to come, he said, and will last me the whole night. She would have given much to have been able to answer him lightly, as though he had said and meant nothing, but she couldn't do it. The light speech would not come to her. She was conscious of all this, and went away to her own room without answering him at all. Here she sat down at the window, looking out upon the river till Kate should join her. Their rooms opened through one to the other, and she would not begin her packing till her cousin should come. But Kate had gone with her brother, promising as she did so that she would be back in half a minute. That half-minute was protracted beyond half an hour. If you'll take my advice, said Kate at last, standing up with her candle in her hand, you'll ask her in plain words to give you another chance. Do it tomorrow at Strasbourg. You'll never have a better opportunity. And bid her throw over John Gray. Don't say anything about John Gray. Leave her to settle that matter herself. Believe me, she has quite the courage enough to dispose of John Gray, if she has the courage enough to accept your offer. Kate, you women never understand each other. If I were to do that, all her most powerful feelings would be arrayed in arms against me. I must leave her to find out first that she wishes to be rid of the engagement. It sounds like that would be hard. Oh, she has found out that long ago. Do you think I don't know what she wishes? But if you can't bring yourself to speak to her, she'll marry him in spite of her wishes. Bring myself? I've never been so very slow in bringing myself to speak to anyone when there was need. It isn't very pleasant sometimes, but I do it, if I find occasion. But surely it must be pleasant with her. You must be glad to find that she still loves you. You still love her, I suppose? Upon my word, I don't know. Does anybody in this book know what they actually feel for any other person? Actually, the answer to that question is yes, but we haven't met that character yet. I keep teasing you, but trust me, you're going to be glad when it happens. I'm not overselling anything. Don't provoke me, George. I'm moving heaven and earth to bring you two together. But if I didn't think you loved her, I'd go to her at once and bid her never to see you again. Upon my word, Kate, I sometimes think it would be better if you'd leave heaven and earth alone. Then I will. But of all human beings, surely you're the most ungrateful. Why shouldn't she marry John Gray if she likes him? But she doesn't like him, and I hate him. I hate the sound of his voice and the turn of his eye and that slow, steady movement of his, as though he'd always be thinking himself that he wouldn't wear out his clothes. I don't see that your hating him ought to have anything to do with it. If you're going to preach morals, I'll leave you. It's the darling wish of my heart that she should be your wife, if you ever loved anybody. And sometimes I doubt whether you ever did, but if you did, you loved her. Did and do are different things. Very well, George. Then I have done. It has been the same in every twist and turn of my life. In everything that I have ever striven to do for you, you have thrown yourself over in order that I might be thrown over too. But I believe you say this merely to vex me. Upon my word, Kate, I think you'd better go to bed. But not till I have told her everything. I won't leave her to be deceived and ill-used again. Who is ill-using her now? It's not the worst of all. Is it not the worst of all ill-usage, trying to separate her from that man? No, if I thought so, I would not have a hand in doing it. She would be miserable with him, and make him miserable as well. She does not really love him. He loves her, But I've nothing to do with that. It's nothing to me if he breaks his heart. I shall break mine if you don't let me go to bed. With that she went away and hurried along the corridor till she came to her cousin's room. She found Alice still seated at the window, or rather kneeling on the chair, with her head out through the lattice. "Why, you lazy creature," said Kate, "I declare you haven't touched a thing. They're supposed to be packing." "You said we'd do it together." "But he has kept me. Oh, what a man he is. If he ever does get married, what will his wife do with him?" "I don't think he ever will," said Alice. "Get married." "Don't you? I dare say you understand him better than I do. Sometimes I think that the only thing wanting to make him thoroughly good is a wife. But it isn't every woman that would do for him, and the woman who marries him he should have high courage. There are moments with him when he is very wild, but he is never cruel and hard. Is Mr. Grey ever hard?" "Never, nor yet wild." "Oh, certainly not that. I'm quite sure he's never wild." "When you say that, Kate, I know you mean to abuse him." "No, upon my word. What's the good of abusing him to you? I like a man to be wild in my sense. You knew that before." "I wonder whether you'd like a wild man for yourself." "Ah, that's the question. I've never asked myself. I've been often curious to consider what sort of husband would suit you, but I've had very few thoughts about a husband for myself. The truth is, I'm married to George." Ever since what?" "Since you and he were parted, I've had nothing to do in life but stick to him, and I shall do to the end, unless one thing should happen." "And what's that?" "Unless you should become his wife after all. He will never marry anybody else." "Kate, you shouldn't allude to such a thing now. You know that's impossible." "Well, perhaps so. As far as I'm concerned, it is all the better for me. If George were ever married, I would have nothing to do in the world. Literally nothing. 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 Nothing." Kate, you are too attached to your brother, to put it mildly. You are too attached to your brother, and B, you have not yet even begun to come to terms with the fact that you are obviously a lesbian. Anyway, "Kate, don't talk in that way." And Alice came up to her and embraced her. "Go away," she said. "Go, Alice. You and I must part. I cannot bear it any longer. You must know it all. When you are married to John Grey, our friendship must be over. If you become George's wife, I should become nobody. I've nothing else in the world. You and he were all sufficient for each other, that I should drop away from you like an old garment. But I've given it up. Everything except hope. Every hope I ever had to see you become George's wife. I know myself not to be good. I know myself to be very bad. And yet I care nothing for myself. Don't, Alice, don't. I don't want your caresses. Caress him, and I'll kneel at your feet and cover them with kisses." She had now thrown herself upon a sofa and had turned her face away to the wall. "Kate, you shouldn't speak in that way." "Of course I shouldn't, but I do. You, who know everything, must know that I cannot marry your brother, even if he wished it." "He does wish it." Not though I were under no other obligation, no other engagement." "And why not?" said Kate, again starting up. "What is there to separate you from George now but an unfortunate affair that will end with the misery of you all? Do you think I can't see? Don't I know which of the two men you like best?" "You are making me sorry, Kate, that I have ventured to come here in your brother's company. It is not only unkind of you to talk to me in this way, but worse than that, it is indelicate." Little point for Lady Macleod. "Oh, indelicate. How I hate that word. If any word in the language reminds me of the whited sepulchre, it is that. All clean and polished outside, with filth and rottenness within. Are your thoughts delicate? That's the thing. You are engaged to marry John Grey. That may be delicate enough if you love him truly and feel yourself fitted to be his wife, but it's about the most indelicate thing you can do if you love anyone better than him. Delicacy with many women is like their cleanliness. Nothing can be nicer than the whole outside get-up, but you wouldn't wish to answer for anything beneath." "If you think ill of me like that—" No, I don't think ill of you. How can I think ill of you when I know that all your difficulties have come from him? It hasn't been your fault. It's been his throughout. It is he who has driven you to sacrifice yourself on this altar. If we can, both of us, manage to lay aside all delicacy and pretense and dare to speak the truth, we shall acknowledge that that is so. Had Mr. Grey come to you while things were smooth between you and George, would you have thought it possible that he could be George's rival in your estimation? It is Hyperion to a satyr." That is an allusion to Hamlet, where Hamlet is forcing his mother to look at a picture of her dead first husband and her living second husband, because they're not alike at all. Hamlet is saying that Claudius is a worm, he's a satyr, he's a creature, whereas the old King Hamlet was a god. And Kate is making that comparison. She's hauling out that reference to Hamlet. When, if she's right in the wrong way, because John Gray is perfect. And George Vavasor is very close to a satyr. He's very close to some sort of bridge troll. And which is the satyr? Asked Alice. I'll leave your heart to tell you. You know what is in the darling wish of my heart. But Alice, if I thought that Mr. Gray was to you a Hyperion, if I thought that you would marry him with that sort of worshipping, idolatrous love which makes a girl proud as well as happy in her marriage, I wouldn't raise a finger to prevent it. Yes, you would. Yes, you would. Because you are in love with Alice. To this, Alice made no answer, and then Kate allowed the matter to drop. Alice made no answer, though she felt that she was allowing judgment to go against her by default in not doing so. She had intended to fight bravely and to have him maintain the excellence of her present position as the affianced bride of Mr. Gray, but she felt that she had failed. Well, yeah, you did fail, because you didn't say a word about that. She felt that she had, in some sort, acknowledged that the match was one to be deplored, that her words in her own defense would by no means have satisfied Mr. Gray, if Mr. Gray could have heard them, that they would have induced him to offer her back her troth rather than have made him happy as a lover. But she had nothing further to say. She could do something. She would hurry home and bid him name the earliest day he pleased. After that, her cousin would cease to disturb her in her career. It was nearly 1 o'clock before the two girls began to prepare for their morning start, and Alice, when they had finished their packing, seemed worn out with fatigue. If you are tired, dear, we'll put it off, said Kate. Not for the world, said Alice. For half a word, we'll do it, continued Kate. I'll slip out to George and tell him there's nothing he'd like so much. But Alice would not consent. So they're going to travel with basically no sleep. At 2, the girls got into bed, and punctually at 6 they were at the railway station. Don't speak to me, said George when he met them at their door at the passage. I shall only yawn in your face. However, as they were in time, which means abroad that they were at the station half an hour before their train started, and they went upon their journey to Strasbourg. There is nothing further to be told of their tour. They were but 2 days and nights on the road from Basel to London, and during those 2 days and nights neither George nor Kate spoke a word to Alice of her marriage, nor was any allusion made to the balcony at the inn or the bridge over the river. So there ends the vacation. And it wasn't as carefree as it could have been. It was all the way until the end. And at the end, George would not drop the subject. Why did he bring all that up on the balcony? He wasn't proposing anything. He's told his sister he is not proposing anything. He just wanted to make trouble. That's all. He might not be a wild man, but he's not a good man at all. Despite what Trollop's narrator wants to smooth things out a little. And then Kate. So whatever fond memories Alice might have had of this vacation, they're not going to be fond now. She's going home 10 times more troubled than when she left. But that is our chapter. We will move on next time. I will see you then. Thank you, Book 2.